Yo, and welcome back to Creeps and Crimes
podcast.
I'm Taylor.
I'm Morgan. Happy Thursday. Happy episode 288 in part 2.
In part 2 of mine, as Marshall just informed us.
Yeah, he calls me and he was like, what'd he say? I need to get the part 2 on.
I need the part 2 on Nyleen Kay.
And I'm like, Nyleen Kay?
I was like, oh, my Kay.
I was like, did I tell him some story this weekend?
That's what I was thinking at first, too. I had no idea.
I don't know a Nyleen. And Taylor's like, my case. I think my case. I'm like, oh.
Shit. Yeah, that's funny. I'm glad that you reminded us, Marshall, but I'm really glad that you confirmed to me that I should have retyped the recap because I wasn't originally going to type out a recap.
When I tell you I don't know a single thing
it's
about
been over a week. It's been over a week.
I don't know anything.
Guys, FYI, if you're watching on YouTube, you're mainly listening on YouTube, but it is still up for you to have on YouTube if that's like your primary way of listening to us. We just decided it's been a hard day. We're not going to go into deets, but we just had a hard few days. Today's been really hard, so I'm
borderline ready to crash out, so you're not seeing me on camera today.
And my shirt has a bunch of holes in it by choice.
No, I'm looking at her nipple.
Well, and I have a bra on, but I slept in this shirt last night.
Wait, is that not your nipple? You do have a bra on?
Yeah, this is a bra, but where this is, my nipple sits in perfectly.
And it's your perfect skin color.
It looks like exactly like my skin color. But if it was my nipple, you would see it because she's terrifyingly dark today. But you'd think I was laying outside naked. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but I bought this shirt with these holes in it. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, it's the 2019 Sublime Urban Outfitters shirt.
Yeah, I was gonna say PacSun or Urban.
Urban Outfitters shirt. And I feel like everyone and their brother had this shirt. I haven't seen this shirt since 2021.
Was this in the Nikki pile?
It was then in the McKenna pile. Guys, Nikki went and returned a bunch of clothes to me because she's moving. And then I go to McKenna's yesterday because Logan had to help them carry in a dresser. And she's like, oh, I got you a pile of your clothes too. Here's your clothes that you've let me borrow. This was in it. I was like, I never thought I would see this shirt again.
Yeah, I'm putting that on right now.
I love this shirt.
You know one shirt you'll never get back from me?
The Tennessee gray?
No.
Which one?
Tennessee gray.
The gray shirt that says
yeah,
Tennessee?
that is yours. Yeah, no, you won't get that.
I know. I wasn't
no, clocked in.
It's okay. I have 3 more. Don't forget.
You'll never get that.
Because that's one of the best shirts ever.
That is my shirt.
Guys.
Where is the Tennessee gray?
I don't know. You wore it not too long ago. Because you Snapchatted me in it.
I really fucked up my closet because one day I was being really lazy. So everything that needed to be folded just got shoved onto a shelf.
Yeah, I get it.
And I haven't went through it yet.
No, and so it'll be in there.
Yeah.
And it'll be like a golden child when you find it in the summer.
And then the other one that Aaron would never return to you is an orange long sleeve Nike Tennessee logo on it. It has your name.
My name on the inside. No, it's okay. I got rid of all my Tennessee stuff.
Yeah, he loves that.
Yeah, that's a good one. That is a nice one.
I always have to remind him that it's yours.
Well, don't worry. It says Taylor Hooker in the back. It says whatever my employee number was. Yeah, in the back with my thing. Well, also in Nikki's pile that she brought back right after you left, I started going through it because she also gave me some clothes that she was like, I think this would just look better on you. Because also Nikki buys tons of clothes and Nikki guys is really, really short. I'm 5'5". How tall are you?
5'7".
6, 7. Nikki is 5'2".
Yeah.
But me and her always get clothes that we call them Sisterhood of the Traveling Clothes. I bought a dress when we were at State Event not too long ago that I was like, I love this dress. I don't know how it's going to look on me, but it'll look so good on everyone. I have to buy this dress for the group.
Yeah.
It's such a cute dress, by the way. It's so fucking cute. I need to wear it soon. I guess I could wear it for Easter if other thing I got from Newly doesn't work.
The gingham one?
Yes. It's black and white, and it's got a drop waist, and then after the drop waist, it flares out. And it's got a high-low, but not really a high-low because it does go to I'd have to wear pump heels with them. I wouldn't be able to do little heels, but it'd be really cute. I think it might be a little booby though, which I could wear a sweater around my neck.
I remember we were oh, that's really small.
Yeah, and there was that little bow because it was a medium, but the bra was
like a triple X.
It was the tiniest. I was like, that'll cover one nipple. Thank you. Thank God. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, okay. Nikki's going through the pile. She's like, oh, I have this white skirt, but it's a low-rise white skirt, and it's just too long on her because her legs are so little, and so she steps on it, and because it's cotton and it's just like a loose fitted one, she like pantses herself.
Yeah.
So she's like, you just wear this, it'll look good on you, and like whatever. I'm like, thanks, that's fucking perfect for my striped blue shirt that we got buttoned down at the store. And then I'm digging, and she gives me back your sister shirt, which is the white Tennessee shirt to your gray Tennessee shirt. And this is Nikki's shirt that she wears. You've seen it in every Snapchat.
In it, yeah.
That's mine. So I had two of them. I had the gray and the white. And I was like, I cannot take this from you. You have to take this. I said, if Morgan ever gave me the gray one or you gave me this white one, like I would never be able to wear it without feeling like I was wearing your clothes.
It would feel like a friendship just ended.
Like it really would. I was like, you have to take this. Like I cannot have it. I said, if I naturally get it back someday, like I'm at your house and I need a shirt and I wear it home, that's the only way. But you're not going to return it to me like we broke up or something. So it's like, take this back with you. I literally put it in her purse.
She wear it all the time. You're right.
Hey, she wears it all the time.
Well, I had Nikki's dog this weekend, you guys.
Odie.
And he and Ollie were just so annoying.
They're so annoying.
Oh my God.
They're literally like real ass cousins.
No, they are.
Yeah, they really think that they're blood related.
Every toy is out of the bin. Yet, so there's 50 on the floor.
Oh, a million.
Yet we're fighting over the same toy for an hour.
For no reason.
And then Ollie started doing this new thing where he would take the toy and then drop it so it would roll under the couch so Odie couldn't get it.
Can't get it.
So then Odie would sit there and
freak
at the couch until one of us got up and got it. And then
Oh
it was a repeated fucking... I'm like, how'd this get back under there?
We're going to have to take the legs off the couch next time. It's going to have to go flat.
Sit to the floor.
It's going to have to go
I
fucking
almost
flat.
rolled blankets up
No,
there,
seriously, to prevent that from happening.
That is so funny.
That is
But
hilarious.
he was good. He was a good boy.
Him's a good boy.
Yeah.
And then Morgan went to Dollywood.
I did go to Dollywood. It was
beautiful, by the way.
School band day.
No. Oh my God.
When I tell you the lines were filled with broccoli head boys.
No.
And just like, oh, you guys, I couldn't even.
I know.
Let me tell you this one
crazy
story. So we're waiting in line for a ride, and this kid, he was definitely like 6th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Can I airdrop you something?
No.
And I was like, no, you can do it to Aaron. You can do it to this guy. Aaron's like, oh, come on, let him do it.
No, you do it.
I'm like, okay. So I open up my airdrop, and he sends me this like Gordon Ramsay video meme as a kid or something, even though it wasn't Gordon Ramsay as a kid. It was just a meme of like this kid in the kitchen. And when he sent it to me, I'm like, oh, what is this? I look back, he's turned around. He won't even look at me, okay? However, when he airdropped to me, I saw his name. His name was Ethan. About 15 minutes later down the line, Ethan gets into his backpack and he pulls out one of those fucking ducks.
No,
chickens,
are you kidding me?
The chicken heads that you like squeeze.
Yes.
And so annoying. He does it for a good solid 10 or 12 minutes. I turned around. I mean, nonstop.
I know you did.
I said, hey, Ethan.
That's the fucking enough, Ethan.
I said, hey, Ethan, if you don't put that away, it's going over the railing. You'll never see it again. Oh, really? I was like, yeah. How do you know my name? I said, you airdropped me. You saved my contact?
That's not how this works.
Yeah, I saved your contact to text you later.
And in fact, where the fuck are your parents? Like, why the fuck are you airdropping a stranger?
For all of those kids, the chicken was literally flying through the line, and people were throwing it across each other. And then these kids behind them, they're like, "Hey, come up here, guys!" And they'd let like 7 kids come. I was literally gonna crash out.
Actually losing your mind.
Aaron's like, "Did you really just yell at that kid?" I said, "Yes,
I did. 100%.
So he's right next to me by my ear, squeaking a fucking chicken.
And he's like been
15
harassing us via airdrop.
I
can't.
I was like, he's about to go over the railing, and Gordon Ramsay would approve. Yeah, if you're driving, throw that shit on cruise control.
If you got a glass, pour that shit up.
And let's get
creepy.
You guys, stress doesn't always shout. Sometimes it can creep in as sleepless nights, cravings, or just low-grade anxiety. And I know that that's how that happens for me. Cortisol calming from Veracity helps me tackle that quiet chaos before it turns really loud.
This podcast is sponsored by Veracity. Welcome to an all-natural way to reduce stress. With Veracity's drug-free, clinically proven, and doctor-formulated solutions, you can support your body's needs to live your healthiest life.
If your goal is stress relief, then you need to try the cortisol calming. With cortisol calming, you can build resistance and resilience to fight or flight stress from spikes in the stress hormone cortisol. Cortisol calming alleviates the effects of cortisol spikes, such as anxiety, brain fog, cravings, visceral fat, and slowed metabolism.
With Veracity, the results are real and clinically proven. Within 30 minutes, you'll start to feel a reduction in stress and feel more relaxed. Within 3 weeks, you're going to get your sleep back in sync and start to feel less fatigue. And that is a big deal, especially for me, because y'all know I've been struggling with my sleep. And then you know what I realized? I did run out of my cortisol calming. I had to up my order, get me another one. Because you guys know we've been taking it for a bit now, and it really has like been helping me. My Oura Ring could even attest.
I would say about a month ago, I started taking cortisol calming, usually 2 capsules every breakfast. And I feel like throughout the day, I'm ready to tackle any stress that comes my way. And then the days that I don't take it,
you can tell.
You can tell.
Veracity founder and CEO Allie Egan is a certified hormonal health coach. Her personal experience with metabolic issues inspired her to develop holistic solutions for achieving optimal health.
As you guys know, we have got a lot going on in our personal lives, through the podcast, at home, you name it. And stress is a natural part of that. So we wanted this natural solution to help with that stress. And Veracity was the perfect solution for us. With a product like Veracity, a common question is, what are the side effects? And since cortisol calming is made from 100% natural ingredients, clinical trials showed no negative side effects from the ingredients in cortisol calming.
So calm your stress the natural way. Head to veracityhealth.co and use code CACBesties for up to 65% off your order. That's VERACITY health.co for up to 65% off, and make sure you use our promo code CACBesties so they know we sent you. Okay, besties. So we're going to be doing part 2 of Nyleen Marshall's case. If you have not listened to episode 287, please go listen, because though I do have a recap, it's not going to be to the extent that it needs to be for you to understand what all is going on here. Again, this is part 2 of the Nyleen Kay Marshall case, as requested by Hattie in the Patreon crime suggestion group. So thanks again, Hattie. And this is my little recap for you. So it's June 25th, 1983, and it's a beautiful sunny Saturday in the Elkhorn Mountains of Helena National Forest near Helena, Montana. Helena? I said Helena last time, and we said we think Helena's right, not Helena. Or did I say Helena?
I can't remember, but I'm going with Helena because of Helena, Georgia.
Helen, Georgia.
Helen, Georgia.
Oh, fuck. I said Helena the whole last one.
Okay.
Not Helena. Well, shit. Okay, we're moving on. Now, attending the Capital City Radio Club's ham radio operation family picnic was member of the group Kim Marshall, along with his wife, Nancy, and their 3 children, 6-year-old Nathan, 4-year-old Nylene, and 2-year-old Noreen. The family lived in Clancy and loved the outdoors, especially when it involved an opportunity to hang out with several other families that had children around the same age. And do you remember the family dynamic, or do you want to walk through that?
Please.
Okay, so basically we have Kim, the dad, then we have Nancy, and then we have the 3 kids, Nathan, Nylene, and Noreen. Nathan and Nylene are not Kim's biological children. He's technically their adopted father, so their stepfather.
Okay.
Because Nancy, his wife, their mother, was married to their biological father, Bill, in California. Right after Nylene was born, he just was like, I'm done, and just like ditched the whole family and didn't want anything to do with them, and just like, he's like, I don't want kids, and left. Not long after that, Nancy met Kim. I don't know if they met in California, I want to say they met in California. And then they moved to Montana because he was going to a like Votech school in order to get his, like, he was big into technology and shit like that. And he loved ham radios because ham radios were like the internet before internet, because you could hear, tune into, talk to people from all over the world. Mm-hmm. He basically needed to get these certifications at this Votech school in order to be able to make actual money and be able to support the family. So the whole time he was in this school in Montana, Nancy was working like multiple jobs as a waitress to be able to support the family. He gets the certifications. They join this Radio City Capital whatever group, become besties with all these people right after they moved there. They didn't have a ton of money, but they like did a ton outside because of that, which is why like moving to Montana was perfect. There's so many opportunities. Go outside, go camp, just enjoy, have fun. Once he got like into his job and everything, and after he got his certifications, Kim started making really good money. And so Nancy was able to stop being a waitress, and she then found out that she was pregnant with Noreen, which is her and Kim's child. And also Kim, like I said, had adopted Nathan and Nylene and changed their name to his last name on their wedding day. So it was like when their mom's last name changed. We love him. We love him so much. We really do love Kim. So that's the family dynamic. So Bill's fucked all the way off. They don't know where he's at. Like they don't have any relationship with him, but he didn't want kids at all. The picnic took place just beside a campground that was sat in a meadow off of Warm Springs Creek Road, which is like an access road to get into this area. And after eating, all the children began playing in or alongside Mopping Creek, chasing frogs, walking through the water, skipping rocks. And it was around 4 p.m. when 4-year-old Nylene got tired of running around with the frogs with this group of slightly older girls who had been looking after her and she had been hanging out with. So she sat down, walked away from them and sat down on the edge of this beaver dam, just a few yards away from where all the boys were still skipping rocks and getting frogs and all the things, and the girls were just like exploring and walking down. The oldest girl in the group was like, what are you doing? She was like 12 or 13, and Nylene was like, I'm just looking for a beaver. But she was like one of those little girls who her social battery would get depleted really quickly and she just needed to sit down and be alone for a minute. And the oldest girl was like, okay, well, we're gonna walk down just a little bit and we'll be back in less than 5 minutes. Don't leave. And Nylene said, okay, I won't. And she was like a trustworthy little girl. She wouldn't. Several of the other kids, including Nylene's older brother, were playing within earshot of where Nylene was sitting, and several of them actually saw and spoke with her when she was by herself after the older girls walked down a little bit. But when the older girls got back, again, not even 5 minutes later, maybe 3 minutes later, she is gone. Nylene is completely gone. They go back to like the picnic area closer to the campground to see if she's over there with her parents and little sister. No, she's not. So they like tell the parents, we don't know where she went. She was just sitting there. Now she's gone. All the parents go over there within the entire picnic group and they're like, just doing a head count on everyone, and Nylene is seriously nowhere to be found. That's when the reality of the nightmare set in, because they start looking around them and it's this incredibly dense forest, very, very rocky, surrounded by steep rocky cliffs and littered with abandoned mine shafts. It was incredibly remote. And once that all set in with them, they were like, we can't waste any more time. So they immediately called in the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. And thank God, because this wasn't their first rodeo. And without missing a beat, the sheriff just called in the Lewis and Clark County search and rescue team to get boots on the ground as fast as possible, because also we're losing daylight. It was 4 o'clock.
Yeah. And the weather was going to get bad. Right?
Yeah, it was like coming in. It was getting rough. Like it was getting cold at night and all the things. But after an intense search of the immediate area that day with no sign of Nylene, they were able to get one of their search dogs named Duke up there, and Duke was able to very quickly pick up on a hint of Nylene's scent, but unfortunately it was quickly lost, which can be typical for cases like this, considering the terrain, the creek, the wildlife, the winds, and several other people being in the area, her family being in the area who has the same scent as her, etc. However, what stood out to Duke's handlers was the way that he lost Nylene's scent, and it was because it like wasn't at a creek, it wasn't a gradual loss of the scent, it was abrupt, and it left the dog Duke very, very confused, like sniffing around in circles frantically, indicating that Nylene had been picked up by someone. But this was really hard for investigators to wrap their heads around, the fact that she could have been abducted, because like this is a very remote area, and yeah, there were a few trails, but it's not like an easy getaway for someone. They would, to get to the road, you'd have to walk past all the families and go through the campsite. However, when they spoke with the other children, this worst case scenario, probably not a possible thing, actually became a reality to them, because investigators learned that several of the kids had seen an unidentified man around Mopping Creek around the time that Nylene went with his purple tracksuit on. One of the little girls said that it was a man wearing his purple tracksuit wandering near the creek who had actually tried to call out to her, but she ignored him and ran away. Another little girl described the person as a man wearing a purple jogging suit, explaining that he stepped out of a wooded area abruptly nearby the creek and tried speaking to her. Doing so, he startled the shit out of the little girl, so she like screamed and ran away. However, she said that she thought she heard Nylene Nylene answer the man because he had like asked a question, but she just wasn't listening to what he said. And then another little boy came forward and saying, yeah, I witnessed him jumping out and scaring the girl. And then I witnessed Nylene talking to him. So he ran by Nylene, and Nylene said to the little boy, quote, that man wants me to follow the shadow. Unsure what that meant, he thought that maybe she was playing a game with like one of the parents in the group, because he has no idea. He's this little kid. So he just is like, okay, have fun, and walks off. When they put all these stories in a timeline, they figure out that Nylene telling this little boy she was going to go look for shadows with the man, that was like 2 seconds before the older girls realized that Nylene was no longer sitting there. So this was all within that 3-minute time period. Okay. Leading investigators to speculate that that man may have been proposing that the kids come play a shadow game with him in order to lure them away. With this new information, investigators began searching for anyone who had been in the area that day and potentially saw a man wearing a purple track or jogging suit, which is not something that's easy to miss, while continuing to ramp up their search efforts of the area. By the 24-hour mark of Nylene going missing, hundreds of volunteers joined the search, and search dogs were brought in from all over the state. Grid searches were performed. I'm talking they had horses, ATVs, they had divers that went into every single body of water within like an 8-mile radius. They had people going down into the mine shafts checking for her, drained every beaver dam to see if there was like a hair tie, but there was nothing. No footprints, no hairs, no hair clips, no ties, nothing that suggested she was there. Therefore, after 10 days, the search was called off. And this is where we left off. Investigators followed through on every single lead and tip that they received, but every single one was a dead end. Nancy and Kim did everything that they could to generate leads to keep Nylene's name in the public eye and her face in the public eye. They sent her missing persons flyers to every single law enforcement agency or office that they could think of across the country, and even got her poster placed on milk cartons to get as much visibility as possible. Working alongside the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, refusing to give up on their daughter, holding on to hope that maybe, just maybe one day, they would be reunited. And after 2 entire years of agony, something new finally emerged. On November 27th, 1985, an anonymous man called the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, telling them that he had abducted Nyleen Marshall. Before the operator could ask any more questions, as they are trained to do, the man hung up, which, can't call him back. It was anonymous, probably off of a payphone. And then 2 months later, in January of 1986, a typewritten letter was sent to Child Find, which is like a New York-based missing children's organization. And I think it was like a flagship type of thing for National Center of Missing and Exploited Children and or Crime Stoppers. Like, it was a beginning stage of one of those. This typewritten letter is sent to them by this anonymous man claiming that, quote, he had picked up a little girl named Kay on a road in Elkhorn Park between Helena and Boulder, Montana, and had taken her home with him and raised her as his own. This immediately stood out to investigators as potentially being Nylene, not only because of the location, because that's exactly where she was taken from, but also because Kay was Nylene's middle name. More so than that, the letter contained information that had never been released to the public to this day. So I don't know why I said it in past tense, has never been released to the public, that no one would know unless they were involved with the case firsthand. The man claimed that he loved Nylene, or Kay as he referred to her as, and said that he would never give her back as he could give her a greater life, saying that he had a, quote, nice investment income that allowed them to travel across the US, Canada, and the UK, and a work from home job that made it to where he could homeschool Kay. He said that he was very aware that her family loved and missed her, of course, but he could not and he would not let her go because he loved her. This letter was instantly handed over to investigators and then the FBI, especially considering that this was postmarked from Madison, Wisconsin. And then 2 more letters would be sent to Child Find, along with several other anonymous phone calls coming in from the man claiming to have Kay or Nylene over the next 6 months, all of which were able to be traced back to several different phone booths, including one located outside of a pharmacy in Edgerton, Wisconsin. Once the phone booths were located, the calls abruptly stopped, which, how the fuck did this person know Though at the time, investigators refused to disclose any information about these calls or letters, they did say that they all suggested that Nylene was a victim of sexual abuse, which is really upsetting. Yeah. With Tim Campbell of the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department saying, quote, "This man said that he's been taking good care of her, but during the same phone conversation or same letters that he would write, he would also make references to things that he was having Nylene do, which would be sexual abuse," end quote. And the FBI determined that all of the letters and the phone calls were from the same exact man.
He like really contradicts himself, because I feel like a lot in most cases like this, like if there's sexual abuse, like he's not declaring
that he has her.
Yeah, one, that, and two, well, no, I feel like maybe the sexual abuse goes hand in hand with like a, hey, just so you know, I have her and I'm not giving her back. What throws me off is the like, I love her as my own daughter situation, like she's mine. Yeah. Or does he mean like I love her as
she's mine,
a different way?
Yeah, like she's mine.
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, sickening. And I don't know if I put this later in the notes, but I'm just going to go ahead and mention it here. So you know how he explicitly, I'm going to get into the exact cities that he said that he had taken her to, but you know, there was like multiple towns and like countries that were listed. Well, when these letters came in, her mom speaks out and says, "We have sightings of Nylene from these places." So that means the sightings were legitimate.
Mm-hmm. Man.
It's like sickening.
That is.
It wasn't until 1990, when the case aired on Unsolved Mysteries, that 3 excerpts of these letters were released to the public in hopes of generating new leads and getting closer to finding Nylene. And I'm going to read these excerpts to you, and we will discuss after the fact. So this is the first excerpt. Quote, "I didn't want their person to try and get information from her. All I could tell them was that she was okay. I hope that Child Find can get the following back to her family. I picked Kay up on the road in the Elkhorn Park area between Helena and Boulder. She was crying and frightened, and as I held her, she was shaking, and I decided that I would keep her and love her. I took her home with me. I have a nice investment income, and I can work from home, so I care for her myself all the time. I teach her at home, and she likes to go with me when I travel. Her hair is short and curly now, and she has really grown. She's about 45 inches and around 50 pounds. She has all 4 of her permanent upper and 2 of her lower incisors at this time. She takes a bath and brushes her teeth every day. She eats well, and her favorite meal is pizza and cherries." End quote. Excerpt number 2. "She would gladly recount to you our trips to San Francisco, New York, Oklahoma City, New Orleans, Nashville, Chicago, Puerto Rico, or Canada. We were even in Britain for a month last year, and she loved it. Nobody questions the passports."
Just like, even if this isn't like a real situation, what sick fuck could do this?
Then the final excerpt we have, it says, quote, "It is, or where it comes from, only that I get it from the bathroom every morning. It is actually a spoonful of my semen. It doesn't affect her physically. I have never, quote, molested her in any other way. She is a sweet little girl, and it is because of how much I have grown to love her that I realize how much her family must miss her. But she has adjusted and seems happy. She trusts me and isn't afraid. We play a lot, and she laughs when we clown around. She smiles and acts coy when I tease her. I love her and I have her, and I just can't let her go."
Ew.
I could vomit.
No, that was nasty.
So, okay,
like, if
I
he
did
doesn't
have
have
it in
her,
there.
what motherfucker could make something like this up?
The incisors and like the teeth and everything, like that has to be some of the identifying information. Yeah. I did write it in here, but I'll go ahead and read it. "Based on the travel information given in these letters, plus the information that we aren't privy to, that has never been released, Nancy, Nylene's mother, said that in several different instances or in locations that he listed, that aligned with sightings of her over the last few years, that they always were like, Britain, like what? And like all like around the world, like why would she be there? They couldn't take her because she doesn't have a passport. But unfortunately, nothing big would actually come of this episode or these releases other than just like a renewed public interest for a little while in Nylene's case.
Wow.
So again, that's 1990. Fast forward 5 years. We're in 1995.
A lot of places. Like,
yeah,
someone's seen something.
Yes, and they've been reporting that, but they're just like no one's taking it serious because what guy would abduct her and then take her to all these different places? So fast forward 5 years, we're in 1995. A nurse at a hospital in New Orleans calls the tip line claiming that she met a young woman who was pregnant and she believed to be Nyleen Marshall. According to this nurse, the girl who went by Helena had arrived at their labor and delivery unit with a man and requested admission to give birth, telling the nurse that she believed her birth mother's name to be Nylene. But she was unsure as she was given up and raised in another country and had little to no memory of her childhood. Despite this, the nurse found it very odd that Helena did not have an accent, but sounded very Americana, Midwest. Like you were raised in, she said the country, so I'm assuming it's a country that has a very different accent than like what we have. But she's like, you sound like you're from Midwest America. The nurse then asked for additional identification and more medical history from Helena in the like check-in process, at which point she and the man just left the hospital. Sometime later, investigators were actually able to locate quote unquote Helena in Oklahoma City and obtained a DNA sample from her. They compared her DNA with Nylene's parents, including her biological father, Bill, and they determined that it was not a match and she was not Nylene. But what the fuck?
No, what the fuck?
And that wasn't the only thing that happened to Nylene's case in 1995, because go back in time a little bit. In 1990, the Marshall family moved to Japan due to Kim, so her adopted father, but nonetheless father, being transferred to a higher paying job within his company. Well, after 5 years, the family jumped at the chance to be transferred to Mexico as it would get them closer to home and allow Nancy and Kim to respond to leads in Nylene's case on their own once again, because since they had to leave, they had to like have their friends and family follow up on like leads and shit for them stateside. In July of that year, so 1995, Nancy flies to Mexico City to search for a new house for the family, leaving Kim and their 2 children who are in school, so Nathan and Noreen, with him in Japan, with plans to go to Montana after leaving Mexico in order to meet with investigators on Nylene's case and discuss some new leads that had come in recently before heading back to Japan to pack up the house and start the moving process. She got herself a room at the Radisson Paraiso hotel and spent the first day house hunting as she was supposed to. She had lined up like all these meetings with realtors. She went, she saw some houses, saw some apartments. And on July 23rd, 1995, Nancy met up with some friends who lived in the area. And some reports suggest that it was probably like her friends from her husband's company that had once like been in Montana with them and then Japan with them and so on. And so the girls all went to dinner. She returned to her hotel that night to prepare for another day of house hunting that she had lined up for the next day. But that would not happen. Kim would receive a call, so her husband would receive a call from investigators from the PGJ, which is like the Mexico authorities, informing him that his wife was found dead.
What?
In her hotel room, having committed suicide. Instantly, he knew this wasn't true, that she would not, especially not before getting to Montana to like get these new leads. And on top of that, Nancy was very religious. They were LDS, so they were Mormon, and would never do such a thing. They reached out to her friends that she had been with and spent her last evening with, and all they could say when talking to Kim was like, absolutely not. She was literally like so excited to get to Montana. She was so excited for this move. What? They were so beyond themselves. They said there were no signs that Nancy could have potentially been struggling. She was her normal self. She was telling them about all of her plans for the upcoming days and how excited she was to get her family back here, to be able to go up to Montana and visit with people and specifically meet with these cops. Kim, along with Nancy's family and friends, knew that something was very, very wrong. So he actually hired a private investigator immediately to go down to Mexico and look into her case, and what the PI found told a very different story. Apparently, the door to Nancy's room had been forcefully, quote, busted open. She was found hanging by a man's belt from the shower curtain rod in her room, with her hands tied behind her back.
Oh my God.
Covered in scratches and bruises that were consistent with defensive wounds, and very, very obvious signs of being sexually assaulted.
Oh my God.
Not only that, but all of her jewelry, including her wedding ring, watch, all of the cash, and all of her perfumes were stolen from the hotel safe that had been busted open. And because of this and some major pushing from authorities, her case had to be reopened and reinvestigated by the PGJ. However, they refused to release her body to the U.S. until their investigation was complete. And that means that they couldn't do a proper burial. The U.S. couldn't do their own autopsies until she was released. Well, then it was too late.
Right.
So after lots of back and forth and fighting and like months of this, Kim Marshall was actually instructed by the U.S. State Department to just let this go and just say like, okay, fine, close the case. You don't have to rule it as a murder. Just rule it as a suicide so I can have my wife back, just so they would give her back, even though it was too late to get a new autopsy done. And they did. Her body was released, but the U.S. officials were like, they will keep her body forever. Mm-hmm. So when he made this request, they ruled her case as a suicide again, and they finally released her. Eventually, the family was able to get her body back, and they were able to give her a proper burial in Texas at the Ridgeview Memorial Park, but it was too late for a new autopsy or any investigation to take place.
It's fucking sad.
But she was murdered.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
What did Kim do for work again?
We worked in like tech. Yeah.
It's just interesting because it's got to be a big corporation to be in Japan and to be in Mexico City. And
I think he just like got into it at the right time too, because that was like right before the big internet boom.
Obviously, it just makes me wonder, like, is this a coworker of his?
Oh shit, you're not being picked up at all.
Hello?
Okay, there we go. All
Barely.
Right, barely.
It just makes me wonder if like this is a coworker of his, because they knew about when they were able to trace the calls. They stopped calling.
Yep.
If this is related to her daughter's disappearance, they knew clearly multiple people in this company were moving to Mexico City.
Yep.
And they knew that she would be there house hunting alone, where she was staying and what she was doing.
Yep.
And maybe she was getting a little too close on someone's trail.
And it's also weird. Like it was at this ham radio operator situation with people that were in the same field. Just weird shit. In 2018, the Find Nyleen Marshall Facebook group reported that businesses in 3 different Wisconsin cities had received handwritten letters referencing Nylene, with some having attached age progressed photos of Nylene, and they were all postmarked from Cincinnati, Ohio, with no return address and like really no detail. It was like index cards from what I could see, but like they aren't released to the public. Each of the letters were handed over to the FBI and analyzed, with no additional information being released about them since. Today, Nylene would be 48 years old, and her case is still considered to be open and active. It has been 42 years and 9 months since Nyleen Kay Marshall went missing at the age of 4. If you or anyone you know has any information about her disappearance, abduction, or current whereabouts, please contact the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office at 1-406-225-4075 or Child Find of America at 1-800-426-5678. But before we get into the discussion, I just jotted down a few things that were weird to me as I was researching. And this included the calls just like abruptly stopped after the photo booths were located. How the fuck did the guy know that they were located? Already mentioned that. A tip came in after the 1990 showing of Nyleen's case on Unsolved Mysteries from a viewer who believed that Nylene may have been one of his classmates in school in Bellingham, Washington. And this actually led to a discovery of another little girl named Monica Bonilla, who had gone missing from Burbank, California in 1982 after being kidnapped by her father, who lost custody of her. So Nylene's case actually solved another missing girl's case.
Wow.
And the last thing I wrote is like kind of a conspiracy, but it's like, what if this is like a network?
Like a cartel situation?
No, I wasn't thinking cartel. I'm only
thinking
like
cartel because of her
Mexico.
how she died and
Yeah.
how the police were like, suicide.
Suicide
That's
had
all
nothing
we're
to do with
doing.
it.
Suicide.
No, I'm talking about Nylene's abduction. The big thing was, it was like no one knows that this picnic's going to be there because they don't do this picnic regularly, and it doesn't. And guys, just like relieve us of any liability of what I'm about to bring in here. What I'm about to say is a conspiracy side of this podcast. This is not anything written down. This is all alleged. This is for entertainment purposes only, because seriously, like, I have no backing for this. But they were saying how, this wasn't, they never did this picnic in the same spot every year, and it's not like da 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 da. Okay, well, it's a ham radio convention. Ham radio can go anywhere. You can talk to anyone. Who's to say that, like, someone had not made a friend who was actually like a freak ass pedophile and been like, oh yeah, we're doing our family picnic, and he's going there just trying to get any of the kids. But it also could have been like a network of these fucking pedophiles that were on ham radios before there was like 4chan and Reddit and all the other dark web and shit.
Yeah, because you also have to think about like all of the travel. Like, do those coincide with other conventions? Do those like, I think my conspiracy on the New Orleans pregnancy situation. What if Nylene at that point in time, her captor, she didn't survive. So her captor went out and got another girl, but he was so obsessed with Nylene that this girl was raised to believe your name is Helena, your mother's Nylene.
Right.
Like, what if she still was a missing child and it was her father is the obsessed captor of the little girl that he loved, molested, and killed? Yeah.
It's just like so
it's weird.
crazy.
The travel is weird. And then it not coincides because the family didn't travel too much, but they made huge life changes. Yeah. Going from Montana to Japan to Mexico City is like, what? Unless you're military, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, for the time being and like where technology really was.
I wish I knew exactly what he did, but it was always just like, he went to this school. He was in tech.
IT.
The fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, such a crazy case. And what's even crazier about it is there's like not much on it.
Yeah, it's sad.
It's really sad. And the stuff about her mom, so what I was talking about last week, I found this like blog, and I think it's ran by the family. I couldn't confirm anymore because also like a lot of the stuff was from Mexico, and I don't have access to any of those like newspaper articles. But like there wasn't lots of write up about Nancy's murder. Everything was in that like family ran blog and the Facebook page. Like I had gone deep on the Facebook page, and I found a few Reddit forums. I found like some old forums from like the 90s that I was able to scroll through. I might have given us a virus. Should not have been on there. Like, don't know how the fuck I even got there. But I was like reading about the family, and like everyone agreed that like this is a really nice family. Because at first I'm thinking something is up. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, like family friend.
Like,
family,
right. But they like didn't even have family. They didn't have anyone in Montana, like other than the friends that they had met through Kim's job and Nancy's job as being a waitress, because they moved there and had no one.
Yeah, very interesting. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's really, the whole travel situation is really throwing me off.
Yeah, it is.
All those sightings, and her father also has an international job. Like, that's got to be connected some way with these conventions or what he does. Or
well, I find it so crazy that they've never released the rest of the letters.
Yeah.
So what? I don't know. It honestly is giving like Epstein or something. Like,
it's giving the CIA.
Because the way that the FBI is like, it's still an open and active case. Hold on. This is a cold case. No.
Yeah.
Why is it not in a cold case unit?
It's weird.
I know. It's really weird.
That is weird. Someone had to hear it through the grapevine in a very innocent conversation.
Yeah.
Recent too. Like within 3 or 4 days, someone had to have said, "Oh, we're going to we're doing a picnic and what's it called?
The location?
B, starts with a B, park.
Elkhorn?
Oh, B. Yeah. We're going to do a picnic and, on Saturday at Elkhorn. Like that would have had to have been a recent conversation very innocently. However,
we're going to be beside this.
Whoever received that information was clearly a fucking criminal.
Yeah. See, that's just like, because, before, mind you, this is before internet.
Opportunity. Like, there's no way this is a crime of opportunity. Like, the way it happened so quickly and the trail, like.
And, like, just wanting to go for any kid, it was like you knew that kids were going to be there. But like, so crazy, if it wasn't a crime of opportunity, why were you wearing your purple jumpsuit?
Yeah.
Huh? Weird.
It is weird.
I don't know. Anyways, that's my case.
Thank you for that.
You guys are welcome.
You guys are all going to be mad.
Oh no.
Oh no, for you, for being too far unsolved.
I know, too far unsolved. I know. I was like, why are you about to do a too far?
No, I'm not. I'm doing a case that was requested by Amy and Patreon.
Okay, Morgan Poo, before we move on to your story, have you been on social media lately? Because mine is filled with people talking about the importance of gut health.
Always.
But actually, like, how do you get good gut health? They don't really tell us that. They're just like, it's the best thing. You have to have good gut.
It's very important.
You literally have to have good gut health. Well, Brodo's bone broth is a great step to take.
This podcast is sponsored by Brodo. Brodo's bone broth is the simplest nutrition upgrade that you can make to your daily routine. Their broths are made from scratch, no concentrates, preservatives, or shortcuts, so you get the best broth that money can buy.
You guys know that I am absolutely obsessed with Brodo. Like, literally, you'd have to pry it out of my cold, dead hands. We just got our brand new box because, you know, we get the sampler pack because we love all of them, and I immediately had to go hide my spicy Nona away from Logan because I was like, you cannot have these.
And Logan definitely favorites that because it's the name of their cat.
It really is the name. Yeah, so immediately he's like partial to it. But guys, I feel like such a healthy queen.
I know, honestly, I could really use a cup right now for my throat. Each cup of Brodo delivers about 10 grams of whole food protein, along with collagen building amino acids, electrolytes, and nutrients to support gut health, immunity, joint, skin, and general wellness, all under 50 calories and with zero sugar or fat.
But is bone broth actually good for you, or is it just all the hype? Unlike the latest Instagram health fad, bone broth has been around for centuries, so it has proven results. A 2025 study actually found that amino acids in broth heal leaky gut and strengthen your immune system.
It's just one of those habits that's super easy, but actually makes us feel better. And when we do drink Brodo, we notice a huge difference in our day versus when we don't drink our Brodo.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like it's kind of changing my skin around. Oh, and fun fact,
flowy girl.
Did you know Brodo actually means broth in Italian?
Oh,
so we're well-traveled, cutie, skin-glowing girls. And Brodo comes in 8 delicious flavors, from classic chicken to the spicy Nona, one of our favorites, to more creative blends like the ginger turmeric, herb-infused, or veggie-based broth. Shop the best broth on the planet, Brodo. We don't say that lightly. Head to brodo.com/CACbesties for 20% off your first subscription order and use code CACbesties for an additional $10 off. Once again, that's brodo.com/CACbesties for 20% off your first subscription order and an additional $10 off if you use our promo code CACbesties.
Thanks, Brodo. We love you. I guess I'm like, who is that? Nyleen Marshall. I just pulled.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
It's actually a case that I guess is like kind of local to where I'm from. However, I've never actually heard of it and or been to it, but maybe I will. So this is the Cranmer family. You would think Cranmer, but the N and M are swapped, so it's Cranmer.
Okay.
Just keeps throwing me off in my head, though.
Cranberries. Got it.
Cranmer's.
Cranmers.
Bob Cranmer was born in 1956 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He was raised in the South Hills area, which is south of the city, particularly in the borough of Brentwood, which is like a pretty working blue-collar suburb just outside the city where, you know, the mills are, like that kind of area. It's very industrial style, middle-class homes, brick, old homes. His upbringing was structured and traditional, shaped by a large Catholic family and a father who had served in the military. So I'm sure you can guess how that house was ran. He graduated from Brentwood High School in 1974 and then went on to attend Duquesne University, where he earned a Bachelor of Science in Secondary Education and History in 1978. Immediately after graduating college, Bob was commissioned as an officer in the United States Army, beginning what would become a very significant chapter of his life. He served on active duty from 78 to 86, followed by additional years in the Army Reserve and an individual Ready Reserve through the 1990s. Over the course of his service, he rose to the rank of Major. His roles were not minor or administrative. Bob served in the Military Intelligence Corps. At one point, he was a company commander with the 101st Airborne Division Air Assault, which is one of the most elite and operationally demanding divisions in the U.S. Army. He also held assignments involving special security and psychological operations units. During his military career, he earned multiple commendations like the it's like a merit medal, but meritorious service medal. He got 3 of those, the Army Commendation Medal and the Army Achievement Medal. It's important to note his military background because he was trained to assess threats rationally, operate under pressure, and lead others in high-stakes environments. He was not somebody that was easily shaken or be easily convinced of something without evidence. After completing his active duty military service, Bob returned to civilian life and started dabbling into the political world. He was first elected to local council and eventually rose to become the Republican County Commissioner of Allegheny County Board of Commissioners, serving from 96 to 2000. This role placed him in a position of significant authority overseeing infrastructure, development, and policy decisions that would affect the entire county. There was on his personal Wikipedia page, don't come at me, he's a fucking politician. There was a lot of controversy with him, especially around the building of now Acrisure Stadium, which is formerly Heinz, where the Steelers play, and PNC Park, which is where the Pirates baseball team plays, as well as the Pittsburgh International Airport. It was a lot of legal, political jargon, so I didn't really understand much of it, but from what I did get out of it, I think it was kind of like a scam almost. So originally the Pirates and the Steelers, the MLB team and the NFL team, played at Three Rivers Stadium together. They shared a stadium. And he was the responsible party for the proposal of what would be Heinz Field, PNC Park, and all of the splitting up every major league sports team in the Pittsburgh area. And then something happened. I don't know if he embezzled money on it, but it basically it all fell through, and the Rooneys had to get involved, and they built the stadium, and it was a big ordeal. And then also the same thing that happened with the Pittsburgh International Airport becoming PIT versus the Allegheny International Airport. So he was involved in all that, and he's not really well liked in the area. I should have actually called my parents about him because he's their age, so they probably would have remembered all this stuff, but I didn't. Anyway, during his political career, a lot of people didn't know what was happening at home for Bob Cranmer. And that story starts back in childhood. As a child growing up in the Brentwood area of Pittsburgh, Bob would regularly pass by a large brick home located at 3406 Brownsville Road. And I can say that because the address is public. It wasn't just another house in the neighborhood. It stood out, and especially to Bob. According to his own account, he became fixated on this house at a very young age. He would constantly ride his bicycle past it, look up at it, and feel drawn to it. And he said it wasn't really in a positive way. It was more of a sense of curiosity, but he always felt a little uneasy. He described it as a house that felt different, even before he had the appropriate language to explain why and the reasoning for it. At one point during his childhood, he reportedly made a comment, half joking, half serious, that I'm going to own that house someday. And at the time, it was just a kid making an offhand remark, but it stuck. This house was finished in 1910, and it was a huge red 3-story home with now 14 bedrooms in total. During his teen years, Bob got into a little bit of trouble here and there, really just caught up in the wrong crowd and did, some petty crimes as a 18, 19-year-old boy would. And one night when he was about 19 years old, he was out with his friends when they got a flat tire in front of a furniture store. And someone in this group, for some unknown reason, was like, hey, let's smash the window in the front of the store, which ultimately triggered the alarm.
Yeah.
So the police are fucking coming.
Duh.
And Bob dips out in fear that the police are pulling up because, again, he's from a strict fucking household. His dad is military and they're Catholic.
Period.
He's going to get his ass beat.
For
and this was also one of the large reasons, the trouble that Bob was in growing up is why he was kind of forced into the army after college by his parents. Because he really wasn't doing too hot.
He needed some reform.
Exactly. So he starts dipping out before the police pull up, and he runs from the scene of the crime and is trying to hitchhike a ride home. And this is when 2 strangers pull up. He doesn't know these people. They aren't from this area. And they told him that, we can't get you all the way home, but we can get you almost there. So where do they drop him off? 3406 Brownsville Road, the location of this house. Oh. So when I say he talks about it being fate, that is exactly what I'm talking about. Fast forward to adult life, Bob is married to his wife, Lisa, and they have 4 children. They lived in D.C. for quite some time during his military career until they were ready to make their way back into Pittsburgh. And so when they are on their way back to Pittsburgh, lo and behold, guess what house is on the market?
Shut up.
This Brownsville mansion. Now, this was a kind of odd, kind of coincidence, kind of perfect timing situation because this wasn't really a house that jumped around ownership. It was something that that family has lived there for 65 years. That's good luck. That's the Harris family house. You'll never get that house. But for it to be wide open whenever he's finally looking at the housing market, talk about fate. for it to be on the market the same time that he moves back to Pittsburgh. He tells his wife it's the perfect home. It's large, it can accommodate their family, so they set up a tour. And immediately the vibes are off. The current sellers seem to be a little on edge. He said they were acting nervous, they were anxious. And at one point, Bob, Lisa, and the kids were downstairs checking out the basement with the sellers when they realized that their youngest son, who was 2 years old, was missing. Bob and Lisa aren't too worried, assuming that, okay, he probably just wandered off in the house. But according to Bob, the previous owners were in full-blown panic mode. They start tearing the house apart looking for his son, only to find him standing at the bottom of their staircase, completely hyperventilating and crying, as if, according to his dad, quote, he has seen a ghost. Nonetheless, that doesn't stray the family's decision to purchase this house. They sign the paperwork and they move into 3406 Brownsville Road in 1988.
I'm not gonna lie, if I was viewing a house and the family's there and the kid like does this, I'd be like, they're just trying to get me to not buy the house.
Right.
You know, like I wouldn't think of it as like anything.
I'd be like, yeah, my kid freaking wanders away all the time. He's probably upstairs.
Yeah, actually. That's crazy.
The first red flag was Bob telling a coworker that he had bought the home, who looked at him like, dude, have you been living under a rock? You're literally from this area. That house has been rumored to be haunted since like the 30s. However, Bob states that he didn't have a clue what this guy was talking about because during his childhood, he didn't know a thing or even heard a thing about it being haunted. He said that it started small, the feeling of being watched, and even his wife vocalized the same concern. The first physical sign that maybe something might be off came from a coat closet. It had one of those like pool chain lights, so it was like a open light bulb with the chain down it.
Oh, yeah.
And that chain that you would pull to turn the light on wouldn't stay hanging straight down. Instead, they would go in there and it would be repeatedly like it had wrapped itself around the light fixture, almost as if something was like twisting it up there.
What the fuck?
They would pull it down, and when they went in there, it would be back up.
And then it takes you forever to get that unwrapped before you could turn the lights on.
You can't even fucking reach it either.
Hell no.
So they would fix it, they'd walk away, and they'd come back to find it wrapped again. The youngest son also was refusing to sleep in his room, and this was the little boy that was crying on the stairs, which was different from their last home. And the other children were beginning to be scared as well at everything. They were hearing footsteps when no one was there. There was doors that were opening and closing on their own. Lights were on downstairs every single morning after they had shut them all off before bed. And the furniture was, I guess, rearranging itself. We've had this before in another case, and I've always said, like, if I had a freaking ghost that wanted to do interior design, like, they better do it right.
Yeah, just like, if you're gonna move around, that's fine, but just do the one that like, I've been begging Logan to do.
If you're gonna move the couch around, then make sure you vacuum underneath of it.
Please. But honestly, you don't even have to do that. But if you'll move the big pieces, like that's fine. And I don't have to trick Logan into
wanting to move this table on this side of the wall.
Just to see what it looks like. I just want to see what it looks like.
Right. And these small,
Can you mount TVs?
We've had holes in the wall. Literally. And these small unsettling events at the Cranmer house began to grow more frequent and more intense. They were becoming persistent, happening in multiple rooms and at all hours of the day and night. The family's children began to react even more strongly. Their son was crying uncontrollably in certain rooms, particularly the basement in his bedroom, insisting that he could see something that nobody else could. Objects were moving in ways that it was impossible for them to ignore. The doors were slamming when no one was near them. Items were falling from shelves and off the walls. Lisa often felt this weight in the air. She said it was like an oppressive sensation that made most of the rooms feel almost suffocating. At this point, friends and neighbors started noticing the family's unease. And Bob Cranmer, who had always approached situations rationally and practically, could no longer explain away this phenomena of this home. The disturbances had a pattern or a focus, and this reoccurrence that suggested something beyond normal circumstances. The family also started reporting hearing whispers and voices, often at night, coming from either the empty rooms or the basement, because again, this is 14 bedrooms. There's 4 kids and adults, so they're utilizing 5. Now, some of these bedrooms at this point were like a study and a library and, whatnot. Sometimes these voices even seem to call the kids by their names. Even when the family tried to ignore them, these events just continued, and everybody on this house was on edge. Bob and Lisa reported being smacked or shoved by invisible hands, sometimes while asleep or simply just walking through the house, and the children weren't spared either from the physical attacks. They were occasionally bitten or scratched, leaving visible marks that had no explanation.
Fuck?
Right. And these episodes were unpredictable, and they were also happening in front of either the siblings or the parents, making it impossible for the family to dismiss them. It was obvious that this entity was actively aggressive, and this was becoming something that was beyond what they could handle. Also, it's important to note here that during this time, Bob was busy with his political career. He was constantly attending meetings, charity events, dinners, and
so he's never home.
He's never home, and also none of this can leak out into the media.
No.
Like, we need help, but we need to keep this on the DL.
And we can't be in the middle of like a political
He's a freaking Republican politician,
yeah, brother,
in a Democratic city.
Yeah, you can't be asking for help.
Yeah.
That's got to be locked and loaded underneath because like you look crazy.
All that to say, he's gone majority of the time, leaving his wife Lisa left managing the bulk of the household and caring for their 4 kids. And the workload was taking a clear toll on her. But it wasn't just the everyday pressures of raising a family. By 95, Bob began to notice that something seemed off. Lisa was constantly exhausted, sick, forgetful, and the tasks that she usually handled with no problem, like paying the bills and keeping the house in order, were being neglected, which also just surprises me in the 90s that the wife paid the bills. But either way,
that part. Actually, that was...
I mean, my mom did.
Yeah,
you know,
that was actually a more traditional household. The woman managed the house.
Yeah.
You know, she managed the finances too.
True.
She paid them.
Yeah.
Not me, bitch. That ain't for me.
That ain't for me.
First off, I don't know how to do fucking math. So you really don't want me paying bills.
You
don't want me touching that shit. I can do the creeps and crimes bills, but that's because Morgan double checks me and she's not going to judge me.
The situation became pretty serious because as their financial obligations were slipping, they fell dangerously behind on their mortgage, putting the family at risk of losing this house. So Bob steps in. He's like, Lisa, what's going on? We got to sort things out. They get re-caught back up on all of these bills, but yet he was still really concerned about how uncharacteristically disoriented she was and how overwhelmed and just how sick she seemed. Lisa admitted that she was just feeling really stressed out and she was just overburdened, but she wasn't really fully able to explain what was happening to her. So in agreement, the couple decided that it would be best for Lisa to spend 2 weeks at a mental health facility to recover and regain stability.
How about just, send her to a fucking spa?
Right, really?
Why are you sending her to a lunatic?
I do wonder maybe if she suffered with depression or
Yeah, she's being haunted.
Because we do find out that the son has a bipolar disorder. So I wonder if...
Maybe, but also she's like, I'm fucking paying the bills, doing all this shit by 100%. Myself. Like, I'm fucking... There's a ghost in this house.
This whole story...
This is your dream.
Actually is 100% told by Bob.
Oh, okay.
Lisa doesn't really do the interviews with the local news channels. Wasn't really... I mean, she was a part of the book, but like not...
No, this is his story.
This is his story, right? So we know how he's going to paint the picture. Mm-hmm. He's a political man, and they don't ever put any blame on themselves.
Mm-mm.
So she goes away, and
I'm doing the right thing by sending my wife away.
Right.
Y'all can't see the lethal eye roll I just gave, but I gave one.
The second she comes home, something strange happens. The kids stated that they saw a dark, shadowy man in the bathroom, telling their dad that he looks like the Grim Reaper.
Oh, no, not Angel.
The family realized that what they were experiencing cannot be dismissed anymore.
No.
And the energy in this home had a will of its own, and it was clear that it was targeting them specifically. So they reach out to a local Catholic priest who visits the house, starts performing some blessings, prayers, and just stuff to intend to cleanse and protect the home. So these blessings seem to have calmed the disturbances down just a little bit. However, the activity always returned. And when it returned, it came back even worse. By 2003, the Cranmers had lived in the Brownsville Road house for over a decade. Their second oldest son, Bobby Jr., was 16, and he was just like his daddy. He had some challenges in high school. He was pushing boundaries, typical teenage fashion. He was skipping class, disappearing for days, taking the family car without permission, didn't even have a license.
You're kidding.
And so on September 14th of that year, Bob is like, I need to reconnect with my son. So he tries to reconnect with him, and he plans a day out. They go to a baseball game, and then they drive around town. They're talking. They're trying to, come up with some sort of plan of like what each of them could do to be better for their relationship.
Okay.
And for a brief moment, it seemed to work. But once they got home, this minor disagreement escalated into a really heated argument. And Bobby Jr. just lost it. He started shouting. He started attacking his dad. And according to Bob, he needed to act in self-defense. So now he is fist fighting his 16-year-old son.
I mean, that's...
The situation worsened when their younger son, Charles, got involved. And at 11:30 p.m. that night, police were called to the home by Charles. But did I say 16?
I think.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Bob was then arrested after this fight confrontation with his son because he was obviously a minor.
I mean, yeah, you can't be whooping also, you're a politician.
Right. Well, at this point, like, he technically was, but like not to the extent where he was.
Like, you're a politician, you're a politician. Right. It's going to be in the news, bro.
Oh, yeah. In the affidavit, one officer reported that Bobby Jr. was in a state of semi-consciousness to the degree that he could not reply to the officer's question.
Shut the fuck up, Morgan.
So this wasn't just like a hold back, like get off me. Like he
beat to a pulp.
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you beating your son like that?
Bob admitted that at the time to having punched his son in the face. So Bobby Jr. was examined by paramedics, taken to the local hospital, and he was then charged. The dad was in charge with simple assault and was released the next morning from Allegheny County Jail.
Oh my God.
Both Lisa, his wife, and Charles, the youngest son, gave statements to police alleging that Bob had assaulted Bobby Jr. But Bob maintained that this was an act in self-defense and emphasized that his son suffered from bipolar disorder, which contributed to his violent behavior. This arrest was a huge problem for the family because up until this point, what was happening behind closed doors was kept private and hidden and out of the media. But this arrest blew that door wide fucking open. And Bob's only logical explanation is that there's a demon in the house affecting his family's behavior. So Bob contacts the Diocese of Pittsburgh.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
The diocese treated these reports very seriously and provided guidance on handling what was considered potentially demonic activity. So some priests that were trained in exorcisms came to the house. They did some more blessing rituals, and they actually visited the home multiple times over several months. Their involvement emphasized to, I guess, the local media the seriousness of the situation, particularly because the children were often the focus of this aggression. And according to Bob, the diocese support confirmed that the events were beyond normal household disturbances. Apparently, during these little meetups or these visits, home visits, things were escalating in the home. And Bob and Lisa would wake up and find pools of blood in their bedroom, like on the floor.
What?
And blood would be dripping down the walls. And their exorcist priest or the diocese or whoever told them to just ignore it because if they give it attention, the demon knew it bothered them, that they'd keep doing it. I only saw this in one source, and the source said that they were like disagreeing on ignoring it because like it was happening during intimate times between Bob and Lisa, and that the priest literally said to them, just ignore it and continue having sex. That was one source, okay?
But like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
Is she bleeding? Like,
no,
what?
It's just like pools of blood that are forming on the floor. There's no like wounds.
Ectoplasm? What the fuck is happening?
There was another house in Pennsylvania that had blood on the walls.
Yeah,
when
you're
they were
right.
painting and it would come down.
It would keep coming up.
What was that? It was like Johnstown or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess maybe the priest did or did not say that. Just continue having sex. Just doesn't sound like something they'd say, but I just wanted to throw that out there. So at this point, Bob started sitting in his closet, and he would sit there every single night and read his Bible out loud. And he did in the closet because that's where like majority of this activity he thought was coming from. But this only seemed to aggravate this demon. They were hanging up crosses and crucifixes all over their house. And night after night, he read his Bible out loud. And day after day, these crosses and crucifixes just kept getting torn off the wall. At the same time, the family did seek assistance from paranormal investigators. They didn't list who came by name. It might be in his book, but I didn't read his book. However, these investigators come and they did document unusual things going on, like unexplained sounds, cold spots, and some physical interactions with objects. Some investigators noted that the activity seemed to focus specifically on the kids, which they were like, this is kind of becoming a concern for your family's safety. Like, you guys should probably go. And so after having that confirmation from both the spiritual and the investigative side, it's kind of what they needed, because when most people face a haunted house, the advice is simple: move out.
Burn it down.
But for Bob, leaving wasn't really an option. He had listed the house for sale, yet no one showed any interest. And he said that in a strange way, this was almost a relief, because he felt a lot of guilt about the thought of another family moving in and experiencing what his family has for 15 so years. He said it felt irresponsible just to pass the problem along. So for better or for worse, this responsibility fell on him. Bob decided he would find a way to rid the house of the spirit or demon himself. So by 2000, Bob had returned to the private sector, but his years in government left him with connections. So he reaches out to the mayor of Pittsburgh, who in turn puts him in touch with another well-connected Catholic bishop. And the bishop agreed to send, this time, an official exorcist to the house. In early January of 2004, the priest arrived. He conducted small, private religious services for the family and then walked through the home, stopping in every room and praying in every corner. The ritual was thorough. However, his son's room, Bobby Jr., was like a big art guy. And so he had just art pieces all over the wall. And after every exorcism, the art on the walls would be flipped upside down. This war of exorcisms went on for 2 years, which the priest told them that it would, because it was exactly that, a war.
It is.
2 years of exorcisms. By 2006, the Cranmers are still waking up with scratches on them. They're still seeing shadow figures, and they're dealing with whatever entity this was. At this point, I do know that some of the kids have moved out, at least the two oldest, but I really couldn't find that confirmed on a lot of sources. So I don't know who was left in the house at this point, because they were probably pretty old, especially the two youngest.
Yeah.
But I know that two were out. And then finally, after 2 years, one of the exorcisms stuck. And Bob really felt like it worked.
Well, good.
They stuck around for a bit, and by 2019, the kids were all out living on their own. However, just 7 years ago, Bob could not sell the house. So over this time, he wrote a book called The Demon of Brownsville Road. It flew off the shelves, especially locally, because, again, this was a big political figure.
Right.
Who felt he had nothing to lose telling his story. He then turned the home into a bed and breakfast, moved out, which is exactly what it is today. However, this isn't something that he marks as a haunted bed and breakfast. As a matter of fact, he has one rule. And the rule is that anyone that comes is not allowed to ghost hunt or bring equipment, or you can't rent out the home for a paranormal investigation in fear that this entity would return. Suspicious. That was my thought too. Anyway, that's the Demon of Brownsville Road.
I mean, honestly, like if I spent so much time and money on getting this fucking demon out of here, I'd be like, yeah, no one's allowed to. But honestly, I wouldn't have told a soul that it was haunted.
I will say what's weird is that, like, here's where I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I think that he might have, I don't think anything was okay with the whole altercation of his son.
No, that's crazy.
Here's where I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, is that we know politicians, they only care about their image.
Period.
Even after. They only care about how they look, how they're portrayed to the public. So the fact that, like, I mean, you really are throwing a lot away by doing this.
You
Even
are.
10 years later, like, your name is still out there. You're still going to events.
And really, no matter
You know?
what side you're on, because like your people against you are going to be like, well, he's the same guy who thinks his house is haunted.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, he's still probably running. I mean, he's only like 67.
Yeah.
So he's still probably running for like local positions. If
And he's
had to
probably like an
guess.
advisor for things.
Exactly. He's still going to big fancy events. And then also you have to think of his military background. Like, he's seen a lot of shit. He was military intelligence. Like,
Yeah.
He's a very, like, thorough,
Smart,
thought
intelligent
out
person.
Yeah. So
I
I
do
do
give him
want to
that.
believe him. And then also it's weird that if the story is true, it's weird how he was so drawn to it as a kid. And like, it just reminds me of like the beginning of a horror movie where the whole house is the whole town is talking about that house on the corner is so haunted, the house, but he's so in La La Land and so drawn to it that it just like is muted around him.
Am I crazy, or was there another case that you've covered where there was like a house that like someone was always drawn to? I feel like it was a woman, and it was like they drive by it and they're like out of town.
All I can think about is the one I did the interview with the author. Like,
Yes, that's who it is.
He was the professor.
Yes.
And they drove by it. Yeah, Mark. His wife was just like adamant, like, no, that's our house. I don't care.
No, that's literally our house.
I'm not moving there until I get it.
No, that's it. That's the one I'm thinking of. And I do believe that there's like this draw. Like there's this one
and the
house.
fact that those strangers dropped him off there when he was a teenager, who was probably drunk, stoned,
yes,
and getting in a lot of trouble.
Badass kid.
And these random people are like, yeah, we'll pick you up. And then they drop him off right at that house.
It's like, were those people even real?
I saw one article on I think it was the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. And it was interviewing locals.
Yeah.
And people were saying, like, I knew the owners before, and must have been 2 owners before him. And they said that, like, none of that ever happened. But then the other half of the town is like, no, I knew the owners before, and they were definitely haunted. Like, I believe him.
Yeah.
It was very, like, split down the middle. It's very weird.
That is, because it had to have been like a talk of the town. Like everyone knew that it was haunted, because remember he even said when he bought the house, everyone was like, why the fuck would you buy that house?
Like, dude, would you live under a rock? Like,
right.
You didn't know?
Yeah, I guess no one did then, because the fuck? Why is everybody acting confused now?
Yeah.
Ew, and I don't like it either. Even though, like, just because he's a politician, I'm like, I don't believe a word that he's
I know, I felt the same
There's
way.
never, like, any politician where I'm like, I believe you.
Right.
Like, no matter who you are, what you do, I
agree.
do not believe you. Mama didn't raise no fucking bootlegger, but I'm just saying.
I agree.
Putting, like, that side of it, like, if I just knew this story from, you know, didn't know who these people were, like their background or anything, and all I knew was that this person was someone who was in the military and like pretty high up and like went through the trouble to do what they did, I would be like, I mean, that's like classic story of a haunting. But it's kind of crazy because I wonder if it did attach to the son the second that they visited the house. And also, like, why is he going into the basement so much? I think he kept having things in the basement. Was he being lured down there?
And I'd also love to know, like, what his art looks like in his room.
Yes,
like,
yes.
What was he drawing? What was he
And
done?
also, why was it upside down? Because, you know, most of the time we hear something going upside down, it's like something that has to do with a cross, and a cross and it's going upside down. So was it religious paintings?
Right.
I don't know, but I really do have to pay.
And then it also reminded me of like feeding off of the mother. She was
yes,
so sick
she
and
was so sick and tired, kind of giving like the Conjuring.
Alrighty, guys.
Love you guys so much. We'll talk to you on Tuesday for a TBB that we haven't recorded yet, but we'll be recording on Monday. And I had a good idea for it that I texted you about. So that's probably what we will do unless something comes up, or we might do an entertainment, because there has been some like
there has been some good
going on here. So we will see. We might hold off a little bit on the entertainment though, because I am feeling like there's something. What is coming up? It's just like normally in the beginning of spring it gets like kind of slow, and then especially because we have so much like political world,
right?
You know, war shit going on right now. That's kind of just making it not fun to like want to even look at pop culture news.
Agreed.
So
can't even find anything. It was so hard for What's New Wednesday.
Oh my God, we were struggling to find What's New Wednesday, but I feel like after Easter and like little things start coming out, and I really just don't want to talk about Secret Life of Mormon Wives for an entire episode, because that's what it would be. But honestly,
have you seen everyone making fun of Jesse's ex-husband?
Oh my God, Jordan being like, then she came out and wanted to sit with the Secret Life of Mormon Wives, and she's sitting here.
Why was he talking like that?
Because he's got his fucking veneers and
Sherlock
plugs
Holmes.
and wants to come out there and like think that he is someone. Fuck off. By the way, no one cares about you.
Right.
I watched literally 3 episodes of it to just try and get caught up, and the men talked so much. I was like, I'm sorry, is this not called Secret Life of Mormon Wives?
I know.
Fuck, this is for girls only. What was that old TikTok sound?
This is for girls only. I remember I did a video of the corner
about the corner of the couch. Oh, that account's gone now, so we will never know.
Damn.
Oh my God, what is that sound?
What does it say before that?
Hold on, I'm gonna find it because it's actually gonna drive me crazy.
It was something like that.
Remind me of your gender again?
Right.
Remind me of your gender again? Right. You're a boy. These are for girls only.
That's dead ass how I felt. I was like, I am gonna vomit if I have to watch another second of these men try to act like they're fucking something. Shut the fuck up and do your job, which is stay at home and look pretty, baby.
Right. You all married up.
Breadwinners. And now you'll all look so dumb because you're seeing like,
Dad
okay,
talk.
Dad talk. If the women say mom talk again
The
and
only
the men say
motherfucker I actually like is Chase, even though he's so controversial. But like,
No,
he's funny on TikTok.
he's funny on TikTok, but I don't like him because I'll never forgive him for the shit that he said. Like,
What'd he say?
remember he started his own fucking podcast just to talk shit about Miranda. Like,
No.
he literally started his own podcast.
Well, everyone would comment and be like, God, we're supposed to hate you. You're so annoying. And Miranda's like, can't you just listen to the comments and stop posting? And Miranda's funny as maybe that's
Miranda
why I
is
like
funny.
the videos.
Yeah.
Because Miranda's always so funny when she's commenting back to him.
Yeah,
and
she
she
is.
does comment on every video.
She does.
They are great co-parents. I like Miranda a lot.
I do like Miranda a lot, but I haven't been able to get caught up because I genuinely don't want to see these men.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are annoying. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't come here to watch boys.
Yeah.
The fuck, like,
Agreed.
Secret Life of Mormon.
I only like Connor.
Mormon couples, like, no, literally, and I hated Connor. Like, remember when he was like cheating on her?
Like shit on all of them.
I mean, I hated all of them. Like, I was like,
I despised Whitney and Connor. Season 1.
I literally was like, I don't ever want to see her. Like, fuck her. And then I fell in love with her because I was like, she's really just here for the hustle.
Guys, there's a new show. It's by the Duffer Brothers. It's very similar to like Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor. It's called Something's Going to Go Wrong, or Something's About to Go Wrong. Something like that. It's on Netflix.
I haven't seen that yet.
Started episode 1. It's definitely a fucking interesting.
Now that Paradise is over, maybe I will.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm still in the middle of Pit.
It's
Baby
not
Jane
so
Depp.
much like jump scare like Bly Manor and Hill House are. Like, it's not haunting in that way. It's more like curse and soul.
Is it giving like Midnight
Soul.
Mass?
Yeah.
Okay, I love Midnight Mass.
It is giving that. So you'd probably like it.
Yeah, I would love that. Why the fuck are they releasing that now?
No, I literally was like, I said to Aaron, I said, this explains the last season of Stranger Things. They were
Actually,
too fucking focused on this.
Too focused on and also, why the fuck are you releasing this now when it doesn't get dark until 9 o'clock at night, and I know it's going to be recorded
that's perfect
black.
for me because I need to. It is. You should watch it in the dark because you'd see a lot.
You
more
have to be
stuff.
able to see, bitch.
But I like it in the dark, in light, because it's like I only see their faces. I don't see anything happening in the background.
The way that my living room is, we watched the Anaconda with Jack Black and all those guys. Because we were like, we'll watch something stupid on Saturday during the day. Half of the movie is recorded at night. You cannot fucking see anything unless you are in a movie theater. I'm like,
so annoying.
oh my God, I'm going to have to get curtains. I'm going to have to buy curtains.
And it's also the edit that they put on and like the new screens on the TVs. Like, you just can't see it.
Netflix filter.
Yeah.
It is so the Netflix filter.
It is really bad because like you could get away with dark movies before, like nighttime stuff.
I had to
the
put it
last,
on
like 4 years, 5 years, it's bad.
Hyper or whatever, the screen on my, and so the other day I turned my TV on in the morning. I was like,
yeah, blinding.
I can't see. Put it back on movie. I can't see anything. Yeah, no. There's a new movie coming out that I was like, oh, I really need. Well, obviously, like Devil Wears Prada is coming out.
And Zendaya and Robert Pattinson.
Yes, and we have Spider-Man. There's another new movie. I'm gonna go see Project Hail Mary because everyone's been obsessed with it. Going and seeing it like 3 times. It's a 3-hour movie. If it's that good, people are saying that it's the best acting that they've ever seen from guy I can never remember his name.
I've never even heard of this.
We talked about it on
Ryan
What's New
Gosling?
Wednesday. Yeah, it's based off a book, but it's like phenomenal. Apparently, but they didn't really do like a lot of marketing for it.
I can't imagine watching a 3-hour movie 3 times in a theater.
Yeah, and that's how you know it's gotta be the best movie in all the time.
Yeah, I just couldn't imagine.
No,
people are crazy for that.
Well, I'm trying to count it out till it's streamers because like I need to be able to go pee,
right,
and not miss a whole chunk.
And pause if I need to.
Do you guys remember those websites that you could get on, like that you'd have to check before you left your house because back when you only had computers at home and not on your phone, and you would Google timestamps to go pee during the movie?
Oh, I never did that.
And my dad would be like, okay, I printed these off. So these are the 5 spots that my mom could go pee because my mom always had to go pee in the middle of the movies. And now I've turned into that. But there used to be these websites that would tell you like the time that there's nothing, it doesn't apply to the plot or like change. You can't miss anything. And you can still like find those online, but like it was just such a thing back in that time.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so fun. Okay, guys, I really am about to piss my pants. So, gotta go. Enjoy your Easter if you do that thing. If not, just enjoy your weekend. And the weather's been kind of nice, but I do think it's going to be thunderstorming all weekend.
I do think so too.
And I would love to be at home, not having to hang out with people.
Me too.
Because that, guys, was it on here? Was it on private that I was like, I just need a day of it being rainy?
I think Patreon.
Yeah, I think it was on Patreon, Piping Hot Goss. Guys, I was literally like, I can't wait till Friday. It's going to be raining. It did not rain a drop.
I know.
It was like kind of cloudy and that was it. I was pissed. Okay. Love you. Goodbye.
Love you. Bye.
Mwah.